Learning about lines.
Hi boys and girls, this is Mrs. Kelly, and we are off on an adventure this week to learn all about how artists use lots of different kinds of lines. Did you know that there is more than just one kind of line? Well, of course you did, because even when you write your name, you have to use sometimes straight lines that go straight up and down, or lines that go diagonal, or even lines that go horizontal. So, when we're drawing artwork, of course we have to use lots of different kinds of lines, because you wouldn't be able to draw everything in your imagination if all we ever drew were straight lines going straight up and down, or straight lines going sideways. So today, we are going to learn about how to make all those different kinds of lines in our artwork. I'm first going to show you the names of some of the different lines, and then, right after that, we're going to listen to a story that some of you may know or remember called Lines That Wiggle. And then after that, I will demonstrate for you how to draw the artwork so you'll get to see my hands actually drawing the lines. And when we're all done with the lesson, you can pause the video, get out your art supplies, and start making your lines too. And remember, if you ever forget a step, you can always rewind the video just a little bit and watch part of it over again. So let's start off with looking at the different kinds of lines. I talked to you about straight lines. You all know that you use those to draw things like your name. Or if you were to draw a square, you have to use straight lines. But we also have diagonal lines. Can you think of a shape that you might have to use diagonal lines to draw? What kind of shape requires diagonal lines? If you said triangle, you were right. Triangles, you need to have diagonal lines. Well, so we need to use those too when we make our artwork. Sometimes lines can be curved, like the shape of a rainbow, or if you were drawing half of a circle. But even so, you can get even more creative with your lines, like making wavy lines, or some of my favorite zigzag lines, or these are called scalloped, but I also like to call them bumpy lines, which go bumpity 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 bump. Then we have dotted lines, which are when you make little tiny circles that go dot, 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 dot all across your paper. Dashed lines are like a road that go dash, 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 dash. And then spiral lines. Spiral lines are kind of like a loop-to-loop or a tornado. You start in the middle and you go around and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and zoop. All these different kinds of lines, there's even more. And as you get older, you'll learn more and more about how to use these in your artwork. So today, like I said, we're going to listen to the story next, and then I'm going to show you how to draw a bunch of different kinds of lines. And if you want to take a break at any point and stand up and stretch your body out, you can even practice using your body to try to make diagonal lines, straight lines, wavy lines, curved lines, even loop-to-loop lines. All those are even fun to draw in the air. That's a good way to practice. All right, so now we're going to listen to the story. So hang on just a second and it will play for you.
Lines That Wiggle by Candace Whitman, illustrations by Steve Wilson. Lines that wiggle, lines that bend. Wavy lines from end to end. Lines that tickle, lines that sprout. Bugs have lines that stick right out. Lines to trap. Lines to hide. Two lines running side by side. Lines that curve. Lines that curl. Underwater lines that swirl. Lines that crisscross. Lines that mend. Lines with doggies at the end. Lines that scurry. Lines in threes. Lines in leaves that grow on trees. Lines that twist. Lines that sway. Lines that swish the flies away. Zigzag lines light up the sky. Rainbow lines are way up high. Lines are everywhere you look. Find some lines not in this book. The end.
Okay, boys and girls, for this project, you're going to need a white piece of paper that has no lines or writing or anything on it. Just a clean piece of white paper. And then you're going to need some crayons. You're going to need a black marker if you have it, and maybe even some colored markers. Now, if you don't have a black marker, that's okay. If you don't even have markers, that's okay. You could just use crayons. But if you do have a black marker, I would like you to get that out too so you can use it. If you do not have your supplies ready yet, you can pause the video, go get everything you need, and come back and start the video again. Okay, we're going to get started. The first thing I want to teach you is that when we're making lines today, we're going to make lines going all the way across our paper. We're not going to stop in the middle. So I'm going to take the cap off of my black marker and I'm going to put it right at the end of the marker like this so I don't lose my cap. This is always a good practice to get into so you don't lose your caps, just like that. And then I'm going to start over here on this side of my paper and I'm going to draw a curved line that goes all the way over to the other side of the paper before it stops, just like that. So it kind of looks like a rainbow. That's pretty cool. I think I'm going to try another one. Now this time I'm going to draw a curved line that goes from the bottom of my paper to the top of my paper. All the way across. That's our one rule today, is we want to go from one side to the other side. Now I've got two curved lines. What other kinds of lines can I make? Let's see. I would like to do a zigzag line. Now a zigzag line is the one that looks kind of like a lightning bolt or the letter M. It goes zig, zag, up and down like a mountain. I'm going to do mine from the top of my paper. Zig, zag, zigzag, kind of like triangles or the letter M, using lots of diagonal lines. Stop. I went all the way to the bottom. Now that's a really big zigzag. I could even make a little tiny zigzag by doing them kind of fast, like this. Zigzag, 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 back, forth, like little M's all close together. M, all the way across my paper. You see how they're different? These are really close together, and there's a whole bunch of them. These are much bigger and farther apart. You could make yours either way. Now another line I want you to try is a bumpy line. That's the one that kind of looks like a rabbit hopping. Bump, bump, bump. I am going to do my bumpy line right on top of my curved line. Now you can do yours anywhere you'd like on your paper, but watch, I'm still gonna go all the way across my paper. Bumpity bump, just like a rabbit hopping, go up and around and down, like that. Pretty cool, huh? Is there anything that might remind you of? It reminds me of flower petals. Very similar. And I could do bumpy lines even smaller than that if I wanted to too. Let's try some upside down bumpy lines. Bump, 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 bump. These kind of look like water waves almost. Bump, 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 just like that. Now those are a little bit smaller. That looks pretty cool, but I think I can add a couple more different kinds of lines. Let's try the dotted lines. These are some of my favorite. I love doing dotted lines. All right, I'm going to start up here at the top of my paper, and I'm going to make some circles going all the way across my paper. My circles are going to take a walk all the way across, and they're not going to stop till they get to the end. Ta-da! And then what about those dashed lines that look like a road? They go dash, dash, dash. Let's try that. It's going to make it kind of look like a treasure map. Where is my dashed line going to go? Will I find a treasure at the end? That looks pretty cool. I like that too. Now that is a lot of different kinds of lines. You might make all of these and decide, oh, that's enough. But if you're a little bit older, if you're a first grader, and you want to go ahead and try some other kinds of lines that you know or that you can make up on your own, I want you to go ahead and do that. Another line that a first grader could make might be a loopy line. Go loop, 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 loop. Now if you remember how to do those, you could add those loopy lines to your artwork. Or even the castle line. The castle line is the one that goes up, over, down, over, 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 up, over, down, over. Wow, I have so many different kinds of lines on my paper now. That looks pretty cool. I don't think I can fit any more. I think I'm going to stop here. Now, you've got crayons and markers to color your drawing with. And if you're a kindergartner, I want you to start with the crayons. My kindergarten students, you can pick up whatever color is your favorite color, and I want you to look throughout the whole paper and see if you can find any spaces that you can add color to without coloring over top of your lines. So I'm going to teach you this year in art how to color in your white paper spaces and not leave a whole bunch of white paper. Do you see how I'm coloring back and forth carefully and I'm going around my lines, not coloring over top of my lines? This is the best way to color when you're learning how to fill in your spaces. Just like that. That looks pretty good. I also have dots there. I could change my color and go back in and color those dots different colors. That looks pretty cool. First graders, too, you might remember that when we're coloring, we don't color scribble, scribble, scribble really fast. We take our time and we color in the whole shape. So here, I'm going to pick a color that you can see a little better. This is a little darker. So instead of coloring really fast, I'm going to slow my hand down and I'm going to get into those spaces. So now is a good time where you could pause the video and you could make sure that you have everything you need and you could start drawing your different kinds of lines. And if you forgot how to make any of these lines, remember, you can just rewind the video a little bit and watch it again. But I'm not done. While you guys are working, I'm going to keep coloring mine till it looks all completely cool and finished. I want to see what it would look like if I colored some with crayon and then even used marker to color in some. That might be fun to try 2 different things to color with. All right, now it's your turn to try. You turn off the video and get started. Bye-bye.